Hey Calvary family, it's good to be here with you this morning on day 4 of our walk through the Holy Week. And I know that we're talking about, the week leading up to Easter, which is very much in the New Testament, but before getting there, I thought we would start in the Old Testament. So I'm actually going to start in Jeremiah 31, and some verses following that. And here's what it says. Look, the days are coming. This is the Lord's declaration. When I will make a new covenant with the house of Israel and with the house of Judah. This one will not be like the covenant I made with their ancestors on the day I took them by the hand to lead them out of the land of Egypt. My covenant that they broke, even though I am their master. The Lord's declaration. Instead, this is the covenant I will make with the house of Israel after those days. The Lord's declaration. I will put my teaching within them and write it on their hearts. I will be their God, and they will be my people. No longer will one teach his neighbor or his brother, saying, Know the Lord, for they will all know me, from the least to the greatest of them. This is the Lord's declaration. For I will forgive their iniquity and never again remember their sin. So you might be thinking, as you're listening to me, what in the world does this passage in Jeremiah have to do with Holy Week? Well, let me read you the account of the Last Supper from Matthew, and I think you'll start to see why I read that passage in Jeremiah. In Matthew 26:26, it says, As they were eating, Jesus took bread, blessed and broke it, gave it to the disciples and said, Take and eat it. This is my body. Then he took a cup, and after giving thanks, he gave it to them and said, Drink from it, all of you, for this is my blood of the covenant, which is poured out for many for the forgiveness of sins. But I tell you, I will not drink from this fruit of the vine from now on until that day when I drink it new with you in my Father's kingdom. After singing a hymn, they went out to the Mount of Olives. So if you spend any time in conversation with me, you know that I love the whole Bible, but I really especially love talking about the Old Testament. And part of that is I love to see how the Old Testament promises, the Old Testament prophecies are fulfilled in Jesus. Jesus is the par excellence, or the fulfillment of everything that the Old Testament has to offer. So we see Jeremiah promises this new covenant. And as Jesus does the Last Supper with his disciples and institutes this new practice, he is instituting a new covenant, one that isn't reliant on works, isn't reliant on sacrifices, isn't reliant on total obedience to the law, but one that is built on his sacrifice on the cross. And just a little bit of background on the practice of Passover, even as this is something instituted in Exodus when they are leaving Egypt. And if you remember, the final plague was the angel of death was going to come and kill the firstborn of everyone. And unless you put the blood of a lamb on your doorpost. And of course, the people of Israel do this and are spared. The angel passes over their house, and the Egyptians don't. And many, many firstborns of the Egyptians die. And this is the last act before they leave. And so the disciples are gathered to celebrate Passover. And as Jesus often does, he says, this is how the way things used to be, and now you've heard, this is from me. Like you might think of the Beatitudes, where he talks about, you've heard it said this, I say this. And this is something similar. You've been celebrating the Passover. Now I'm instituting this new, greater institution of the Lord's Supper. And of course, we still celebrate this today. And it's a remembrance of the sacrifice Jesus made on the cross so that we could be forgiven. And so this, at the time, the disciples probably didn't fully understand exactly what Jesus is doing, as so often they didn't. But now today, we have the benefit of looking back and seeing the importance and the solemnity of this occasion. So I encourage you, as you go throughout today, just continue to reflect, as we should every day, on the sacrifice of Jesus that is coming and that we remember tomorrow, and of course the jubilant celebration on Sunday. See you later.